readers, welcome to the family, the Harris family home. I get to be working with you on your writing today, so that's pretty exciting. I was actually thinking about something this morning as our family was working on a puzzle, so let's kind of dive into writing and look at what we're working with today. So we're going to be working on drafting conclusions, and our goal for today is for you to draft body paragraph 2 up to the point where you have that concluding sentence, which we are going to be doing part 2 tomorrow. So you'll be doing the conclusion part tomorrow. Okay, so here's what I was thinking about. So expository writing is kind of like a puzzle. What I mean by that is that as we're finding our purpose, like, okay, so I want to do a puzzle that's Christmassy right now just because that's kind of where my brain's at and my heart is with this time of year. Okay, so that's kind of like a topic. And then we have to start looking at the different pieces and putting things together. And oh, this part fits really well together. And then you get to these parts where you're like, okay, so if you look on our puzzle right here, I have like some pink and some red and some different things going on. And I really have to evaluate and say, is this going to be the best piece to fit right here? Are there any gaps? Does it actually fit? Does it make sense here? And I was like, oh my goodness, this is like writing our expository writing in writing workshop right now. So I was kind of excited to be able to make that connection for you guys. So here's where we're going with this. So we're still kind of building this puzzle, which is our expository writing. So we have so far written our introductory paragraph, and we've written paragraph 2, which is technically body paragraph number 1, which is kind of confusing. But here's what we get to do today. So today we're going to be drafting body paragraph 2. All right, so when we do this, we need to kind of look more at not just our topic sentences, which Miss Kay and Miss Sargent have worked a lot with, but now we need to start looking at those red portions. What exactly is elaboration? Well, it's a process of developing ideas by providing supporting details. It means to tell the reader more about an idea using specific words, adjectives, vivid words, examples, and it's kind of like onion-like layering of the details. So here are some stems that we gave you to kind of help with that and to support you. So stems to help you elaborate. This means, this matters because, this is important because. All right, so watch me as I start plugging these into my own little outline, and I plug in some more of my research for body paragraph number 2. What I have started for body paragraph number 2 is that I simply went back to those introductory sentence strategies that Miss Kay gave us. And for this one, because I'm talking about Jason Reynolds, an authentic author for today's youth, I wanted to paint the picture for my reader of somebody who's actually sitting there enthralled in a book. So I opened with, imagine seeing a young man sitting, nose in a book, oblivious to anything except the life of his characters. This is an unusual observation. You peek to see the cover, only to see a book you've never read before. But it is written by none other than Jason Reynolds, an author who has found a way to craft his stories into those the readers can actually relate to due to their authenticity. So after I had that, then I had to go back to my research, which you can see on the right-hand side here. I had to go back to my research and say, okay, so where are my facts that really tell me why this author is so engaging for today's youth? Why him? Why his books? So I went and I kind of dug around in my research for those facts. So the first one here I got from paragraph 4 of this article here on the right. And so I found this little fact from author or writer Courtney Rubin from an article published in March of 2020. And she said that Reynolds has popularized stories not so unlike his own. His stories include violence and deeply troubled families. And they typically star a male teenager in a rough city neighborhood, almost always underestimated or misunderstood. So now it's time for my stop and explain. So this matters because, this means, this is important because. So here I am going to go to my body paragraph 2, and I'm going to go back to annotate so that I can kind of elaborate and say why this is so important. So this means these topics are ones our youth did not previously have in the literature they were reading. And this matters because readers must be able to see themselves in their characters in order to relate to a book. Or possibly I might even change that to become incredibly invested in a book. Something of that sort. Okay, so as you can see, I simply use those little stems that we have, and I use this means, and I decided to use this matters because. I'm just stopping to explain, describe, elaborate. Why does this matter? Kind of like our strategy from reading earlier where we said what, so what. All right, so now I have Aha Clark, the manager of reading programs for DC libraries, often had to resort to helping students analyze rap lyrics. And I should clarify prior to Jason Reynolds' stories. And as my students will tell you, we have to use the magic of the undo button sometimes, or the redo, and hopefully we can make that come back. And if not, that's okay. But I know exactly where that quote is because it is right over here in paragraph 19 of my text. So as you can see, before Jason Reynolds' story, she was saying that these boys never had the words to say how they felt walking down the street or experiencing anger and pain. With Mr. Reynolds, it's we're seen, we're heard, people can empathize with us. So I'm just going to elaborate right here. This means the youth Ms. Clark worked with was able to connect with the stories, experiences, and hardships Reynolds writes about in his books. This is important because it validates the feelings of those children and lets them know they are not alone. All right, so I'm just going to kind of format this a little bit. And from here tomorrow, you will be uploading your conclusion and working more with that. So for now, this is what we've got. Okay, so writers, this is your work for today. You are simply working on your topic sentence for body paragraph number 2, plugging in your research for body paragraph 2, and doing those explain, elaborate, describes, that red section of your paragraph. So happy writing.